It's time for an update on the Crystal Red shrimp tank. It's been well over a week since they've been first introduced, and not a single one of them has died. In this tank, I still count a total of 11 shrimp. Now, this includes the time where, for about 3 to 4 days, my entire home lost power. There was a major storm that went through my area, and hundreds of thousands of people, well, about 100,000 people or so that I know of, lost power for a significant amount of time, and I was not spared that issue. So, despite no aeration or filtration or heat, all 11 of the shrimp that I originally started with are still alive. These guys are much more hardy than I believe they're given credit for. The water parameters are, as I had planned, very stable, and they seem to do quite well in it. Now, I wish I would see some evidence of molting. There are some pieces here and there that look like they could be a molt, but there's no real way to confirm that without physically seeing it myself. But they skedoodle about, they eat plenty, they love their pellet food, they love to pick at the ground. They don't have any issues that I can see involving any sort of necrosis or bacterial infections, anything like that. They are very active shrimp, even with the daylight and with minimal decorations to hide under. They are out and about doing their thing. They're not shy. They're very enjoyable to watch, honestly. These are quickly becoming some of my favorite shrimp. Their coloration is beautiful, and they like to come out. So that's kind of a good thing for those of us who keep shrimp. But, despite all this, you can't really call this tank a success until you start seeing buried females and then tiny shrimplets. So, they're still a bit young. Some of them are definitely breeding age, and some of them are a little young. So it'll be a while before I will start to see eggs developing on the shrimp. At least a month, if I had to guess. That being said, the real question is, when they molt, can they do it successfully without failing? That is the ultimate determination as to whether or not a shrimp will live in or die in any tank. If they can't molt, they will die from the stress of trying to molt. And because the water parameters are very different and they're much harder, there's a good chance that their exoskeleton will also become much harder than they're used to, become much more rigid and stiff, and they might not be able to bend the exoskeleton off of their frame, and it might get stuck on them, which could ultimately result in their death. It hasn't happened yet. One of the first things that a shrimp wants to do when they get in a new tank is molts. I haven't really seen any molts. I suspect that if they have been molting, they've been eating their exoskeleton, as shrimp often do, almost immediately. That means the best I can really hope for in terms of confirmation without seeing a molt is a buried shrimp. It'll be some time before that happens, one way or another. As of right now, it's well over a week. Not a single death.